Things are only getting more intense in Sean Diddy Combs' ongoing sex trafficking trial, as the courtroom entered week 5 with an emotional return to the stand for one of the key witnesses, his ex-girlfriend, identified only as Jane. And let's just say, the defense has their work cut out for them. June 10th marked day 20 of this bombshell federal case, and the courtroom was once again packed with attorneys, press, and observers, watching as Diddy's legal team launched their cross-examination of Jane. If you've been following this case, then you already know Jane's testimony has been among the most explosive and disturbing to date. But what she revealed during her 4th day on the stand? It left the room stunned. Before Jane even began her latest round of testimony, Judge Arun Subramanian made headlines by denying the defense's second motion for a mistrial. Yep, you heard that right. This was the second attempt by Combs' lawyers to get the trial tossed. This time, they accused Cassie Ventura and her friend Bryana Bongolan of lying on the stand, specifically regarding an incident in 2016 when Combs allegedly dangled Bongolan over a 17th-floor balcony. The defense called it perjured testimony and claimed it amounted to misconduct by the prosecution. But once again, the judge wasn't buying it. So, with the mistrial motion shot down, the court turned its attention back to Jane, whose harrowing account of abuse allegedly at the hands of Combs continued to shake the courtroom. According to her, an argument in June 2024 spiraled into an hours-long beating. The fight reportedly started when Jane confronted Combs about seeing a much younger woman, 25 years his junior. She said she called him a pedophile, pushed his head into a marble countertop, and tried to get away. That's when things took a terrifying turn. Jane said she locked herself in the primary bedroom, but Combs tried to break the door down. And yes, there were photos of the cracked door submitted as evidence. Eventually, she ran outside, trying to wait him out, but when she returned hours later, she says Combs attacked her again, punching and kicking her repeatedly as she curled into a ball in the backyard. She testified that he dragged her by the arm and hair back into the house, leaving her with black eyes and welts the size of golf balls on her forehead. Chilling. And it doesn't stop there. Jane revealed how deeply enmeshed she had become in Combs' world. She admitted she felt trapped, financially dependent on him, and pressured into participating in what the indictment and multiple witnesses have described as freak-offs, bizarre and often non-consensual sexual encounters arranged by Combs in hotels. Jane said she agreed to these so-called hotel nights because she was a single mother, and Combs paid her rent, handled her childcare, and controlled her life. I felt obligated, she told the court, because I was really consumed by him. One of the most emotional moments came when Jane described reading Cassie Ventura's now-settled 2023 lawsuit. According to Jane, it was like reading her own life story. She said she fainted after realizing how closely Cassie's accusations mirrored her own experiences. Her testimony painted a chilling picture of coercion, manipulation, and control. Jane also testified that Combs threatened her in December 2023, this time with releasing sex tapes. She claimed he bombarded her with phone calls and texts, saying he had nothing to lose, and threatening to show the footage to her child's father. She said she was heavily drugged in those videos, and she begged for space to heal. Screenshots of messages to Combs' employee, Christina Coram, were entered into evidence, in which Coram tried to reassure Jane that Combs wouldn't go through with it. But the damage was already done. And just when you think things couldn't get more surreal, Jane also shared that Homeland Security agents raided her home in March 2023, a property still being paid for by Combs. Her testimony tied the raid to a larger federal investigation, which has also included searches of Combs' other residences. Meanwhile, other witnesses continue to support Jane's claims. One of the most jaw-dropping testimonies came from Bryana Bongolan, Cassie Ventura's friend, who testified that in 2016, Combs lifted her over a 17th-floor balcony before throwing her into furniture. She later filed a $10 million lawsuit claiming sexual battery, emotional distress, and false imprisonment. And let's be clear, the details are haunting. Bryana said she feared for her life in that moment and still suffers from nightmares. If that wasn't enough, prosecutors also showed financial records linking Combs to a $20,000 wire transfer from Cassie Ventura's father, Roderick Ventura. According to Cassie's mother, the money was paid to Combs under pressure after he allegedly threatened to release explicit videos of Cassie when she began dating Kid Cudi. But the fireworks didn't end there. On June 3rd, a vocal Combs supporter had to be escorted from the courtroom after shouting, "It's not right what they're doing to him." And just days earlier, Judge Subramanian warned Combs himself that he'd be removed if he kept making exaggerated facial expressions toward the jury. Apparently, Combs had been nodding and glaring during key witness testimonies, a move the judge called unacceptable. More explosive revelations followed from former security supervisor Eddie Garcia, who testified under immunity that Combs paid him $100,000 in a brown paper bag to obtain hotel surveillance footage of an alleged assault on Cassie. According to Garcia, Combs had him and two others sign NDAs with million-dollar penalties to cover it up. Garcia even claimed Combs called him an angel after the deal was made. Then there was testimony from Sylvia Oken of the Beverly Hills Hotel, who confirmed Combs used aliases like Philip Pines and Frank Black to book rooms where the freak-offs allegedly occurred. Charges included things like deep cleaning and oil damage. You can probably connect the dots on what that implies. And don't forget Mia, the former personal assistant whose real identity was reportedly leaked by the media, a move the prosecution says could violate court orders. Mia testified about the psychological grip Combs had on her. She said she felt brainwashed and constantly sought his approval despite witnessing disturbing abuse. In one message read in court, Mia said Combs threatened both to fire her and to kill her. "He didn't sound in his right mind," she wrote. "He was slurring his words." She also described seeing Combs assault Cassie firsthand, including one moment where he allegedly cracked her head open and chased her through a hotel. At one point, Cassie reportedly told Mia, "Puff is going to kill me." So where does all this leave us? The trial is still unfolding and more testimonies are expected in the coming days. But what's clear is this: the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs are stacking up fast, and they're coming from multiple witnesses with disturbingly similar stories. The defense is pushing hard to discredit these women and poke holes in their accounts, but the emotional weight and consistency of their testimonies are hitting hard with the public, and likely the jury too. We'll be watching closely as this high-profile trial continues to unravel. For now, Jane remains a central figure in the case, a woman whose voice may very well shape the outcome of a trial that's shaking the foundations of the music industry.